Welcome to Nerd Alert, everyone. I am joined by a special guest this week. She's a friend of mine, the brilliant and lovely Christina Ochoa. You have a very unique story, which is that you're an actress right now,
yes.
and you host Chaotic Awesome on BiteSize TV. You do a lot of work in the hosting field, but you have a very strong scientific background. You had a previous life, or it's your current life now, as a scientist.
Scientist by training, not by trade, unfortunately. I focus, my day-to-day life revolves around acting, but I do believe that science has helped shape me and sometimes even help me in my career, because it does maybe help me process things differently. So I'm a big advocate of scientific outreach, and Chaotic Awesome, I do their science segment, and I believe that science is something that we should never really let go of as a society and as individuals.
I'm glad that you feel that way, because I feel that way, but I'm not as strongly academically versed as you, I would say.
But that doesn't matter. The great thing about science is it's not, I think it's a Richard Feynman quote that says, science is not so much a body of knowledge as a way of thinking. And that's really what's so wonderful is now, especially in our generation and our community, and we have a lot of mutual friends that are in the field. And the great thing about it is that it doesn't matter. They don't have to know about, they don't have to be scientifically literate. They don't have to necessarily read about science or work in scientific fields. They just love science, and they have a very critical, analytical thinking, and they process things that way. So that's what's so exciting.
Yeah. So right now you're actually doing something that combines those two. It's Scirens, S-C-I, get it? With my friend Rylea and Taryn and Tamara. And tell me about Scirens. I've seen it all over my Twitter feed.
That's good. Good to hear. We love hearing that. So it's Scirens is pretty much, I want to say it's just 4 idiots in a room. Like, we just got together and we all love science so much, and we do a lot for science advocacy and STEM outreach as individuals, that we thought there would be a power in number. We are 4 actresses that encourage through scientifically literate content or through just communication and science communication, an interest. We want to catalyze that movement of curiosity within the public, and sometimes the industry, the film industry, allows us to have that platform sometimes.
It certainly feels like it's becoming more in focus, I think, in the mainstream view. We have, of course, Cosmos on Fox of all channels in prime time, and I feel like science fiction, at least, is getting more literate or more true to form.
It is, and you have these wonderful, I mean, we go back to Jules Verne, right? I mean, he was incredibly scientifically literate, and he almost predicted a lot of the advancements that have happened in technology and science. And I think that now you get this new generation, or you are just hearing more from them. People want to see smart content. And when I say smart, I don't mean just challenging intellectually, but actually based on something that they can relate. Blockbusters, you have Gravity, you have, John Spates is a wonderful screenwriter, and he is one of the most eloquent, articulate, and intelligent men I've ever met when it comes to science. He infuses all of his projects with wonderful, true, factual knowledge.
Very cool.
And it's really exciting.
So your background is more in oceanography and engineering?
And physics.
And physics. Yeah. What made you feel drawn to that?
I want to say that I was exposed to it when I was a kid. That's probably why. The Little Mermaid definitely influenced me a lot.
Me too, but not in that way.
And I think that, my parents never seemed to think there was any kind of limitation. For me, they were very encouraging, and they were like, go scuba dive when I was very young, and we would be in areas that had access to a lot of this. It's kind of like, SeaWorld gets obviously a lot of hate because of some of the practices that they have. Exactly. Blackfish is a very clear example and has some very interesting controversial views. But at the end of the day, I also think that they provide a very important service because they expose what's underwater to children.
So it's more of an outreach, you would say, as a
It should be, or that's how it should be, I think, treated. I know that when I saw things that were underwater that I didn't normally get to see on a day-to-day basis, I would grow intrigued and excited about it, and I'd want to learn more about it. So hopefully children take that away from it. It's like putting a telescope in a kid's hand. All of a sudden, it's not just, oh, some dot up in the sky. All of a sudden, they're learning about what plasma is and planets versus stars and supernovas, and they're seeing it.
And it's opening their eyes. You do a lot of science outreach. I feel like you recently had an announcement that you're going to be working with the Intel Science Fair.
Yes, the International Science and Engineering Fair, the ISEF, is a wonderful science fair, pre-collegiate level science fair. And they choose, I think, 2,000 students from all across the world, and they fly them in with their teachers and their science projects. And these kids are prodigies.
Yes.
They are doing postdoctorate level experiments. You walk down the aisles and, mechanical engineering or whatever, and they're like tiny little nuclear reactors. It's scary how brilliant these kids are.
I've covered the science fair before, and I was blown away. There was the girl who made an even stronger cell phone battery. There was the boy who made an even better version, a cheaper version of Google's self-driving car.
Yes, the car.
Yes, and it was incredible that someone so young was able to make something beyond what adult professionals are making.
A 13-year-old kid found an early detection mechanism made out of paper for pancreatic cancer. I mean, these kids are going to change the world. And it's something that the organization SSP, Science for Society and the Public, brings together, and I've been working with them for a few years, and this time around they asked Kyle Hill, who's also a huge science advocate, scientist, researcher, science writer, to co-host it. So we are going to get to tag team it, and it's going to be really exciting. It's in LA in May. So hopefully everyone can stop by and come support this wonderful cause.
I would love to do that,
yes,
because it's every year I'm blown away, and now I know someone who's doing it, and you do too. So how did I have to ask, how did you decide that you wanted to get into acting after this entire background in oceanography and physics?
I have this thing where I say I took an amateur theater class, and it's kind of my go-to story when people ask me where I got on stage just for
ask
fun.
You this, but it
makes sense.
It's
so dichotomous,
so interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think human beings have two primal needs: to discover, which is kind of what I get to do through science. I learn, and I'm constantly surrounded by smarter people than me that are very stimulating and challenging and exciting to talk to, and I'm learning, but we also need to create. I think there's this need to leave a legacy, and you get a certain sense of pride and fulfillment from creating something, whether it be using Legos to build a little structure, building a puzzle. There's this weird, intricate sense of fulfillment, and I think I get that from acting. It satisfies that creative side. And I think that it's one of those things where youth and beauty are commodities. And as much as I think, oh, I could always do this in the future after I pursue my scientific endeavors, I want to try it now. I think that it's something that the earlier you try and get in, it seems to raise the factor.
I am also a woman who is near cameras, and I understand how that works. But that's so cool, though. You're a very well-rounded person, and no, take the no. And I think it's cool that you're pursuing your creative aspirations, but also still keeping in mind, the way you think is scientific, and the way you want to discover and learn and help people also discover and learn more about their world. So that's so cool to me.
But you do that too. You do it every single day. Oh my God, no, you do it every single day. You have your creative endeavors, and you have, kind of your job and your career and the goals you pursue, but we hang out in the same circles. We hang out all the time, and we are surrounded by these people that help us grow. You do it too. You're inquisitive, you are knowledgeable, you go and you pick out things that you want to find information about, you investigate it, and you work on it. You incorporate it in your job and your day-to-day.
Well, I guess all people sort of do that in a way, or hopefully they do that, when you just learn and pursue things and follow your passions, I guess.
I would hope that most people do.
Hopefully, in a perfect world. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to keep my eye on Scirens because Cosmos is one of my favorite shows, and you guys live tweet it every week. Yeah. It's very inquisitive and very knowledgeable. And of course, there's Chaotic Awesome, where you are the science correspondent.
Yeah. It's a lot of women putting together the show, producing the show, hosting the show. Marisha Ray, Chloe Dykstra, Michelle Morrow. It's a group of very passionate, very intelligent women.
The positive, like your show just like radiates positivity. And I love that.
I think that comes from the people. This group of women in particular, the one thing that I noticed right away is within this, especially this industry, and you know this very well, where women can be very intimidating sometimes. I think that the wonderful thing that I noticed about them right away is that they never speak negatively about other people. Like I would hang out with them and have these conversations with them, and they never really had anything negative to focus on. It was always about the positive, wonderful things that were happening. And that's something that is very attractive. So these women bring that to the show.
Very cool. I think it comes through very well, and you're a huge part of that, whether you're willing to accept more compliments or not. So we're glad to have you here all week. Yes, Christina's going to be in all these videos this week. We're very excited to have you and your positivity and your science mind. So please stick around for this, and please check out BiteSize TV and Scirens. The links will be below. Thanks for joining us. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Kim. Thank you so much.